Welcome to this video. In this video, I'll be demonstrating an assistant called Rename. So if you remember from the previous video, the way we work with the UI assistant is that we first need to select a file, a UBot Studio file to work with. So I'm going to come to this recently opened section and I'm going to choose this file called testfile1.ubot, and as you can see, it's loaded and then this is the location on disk. So I'm now going to use this assistant here and I'm going to show you what it does. Now this assistant, what it does is that it extracts all the variable names, list names and table names from your currently selected UBot Studio file, and then it allows you to rename it in any which way you want. So why have this assistant? The reason is that it's a part of good coding practice. Like when you're creating your code, apart from your code's logic and other things, one thing which contributes towards better understanding of your code is how you name your data structures, how you name your variable names, your table names and list names, because you just cannot rely on comments for understanding what's going on. Your variable names, table names and list names should contribute towards your understanding of what's going on in your code. For those of you who are interested in good coding practices, this is a very powerful tool. The reason why I created this tool is that even with the understanding that you need to name your variable names properly, what I find is that when I'm creating a bot, in the heat of the moment, try as much as I want, my focus is not really on creating good variable names, table names and list names. It's more about getting my bot to be working and up and running and delivering it. So halfway through the project, I wish I had named my variable names and things better, and looking around I could not find any tool which lets me do this easily and quickly and painlessly. So that's why I've created this assistant. So let me show you how it works. It's a three-step process. You need to first press this button called extract from file. What that does is when you press this button, this rename assistant will look into this currently extracted file, currently selected file. It will go through each and every tab and it will create a list of all the variable names, table names and list names which are in that file, and it will create a list and it will allow you to change it. So let's do that. I'm going to say extract from file. It tells me there are 16 variable names, 6 list names and 2 table names in this currently selected file. So before the second step is I need to select what it is that I want to change, and I'm selecting variable names are selected by default, and then I need to say show selected. So a data grid opens up here, and there are two columns here. In the first column is the name of all the variable names which the assistant found by going through my currently selected file, and the second column is where you should rename your variable. Now I mirrored the name over here so that in many cases I don't need to change the name completely. Maybe I just want to prefix it or suffix it or maybe delete something. So in that case it is good to have the name available here so that I can just go and make a change. So for this demo video, I've selected this variable called textbox2. I'm going to change it to say textbox2 in a different way. Alright, instead of being numeric, it's going to be an underscore and 2. Now I've just changed it here in the grid. I haven't applied the changes to what I could do is I could select any of these variable names and then I can change it, and after that, after I've finished changing modifying all the names here, then I need to press this rename button. That's what applies the changes to the variable names. So right now I have selected this variable name and I've changed it, but I have not applied the changes. The reason is I want to show you, I want to open up Notepad++ and okay, alright, so Notepad++ opens up, and if you remember in the previous video I was demoing the select file tab and I was showing you that when you select a UBot Studio file, it gets unzipped inside a subfolder. Now when you install this program called UAssistant, inside its main folder there is there's another subfolder called TMP. So when you select a UBot Studio file, this tool will unzip the contents of this file inside this folder called TMP. So because I had worked with this file in the previous video, Notepad++ remembers my session, so it by default opened up this subfolder, and it has this currently selected file available for me here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, first of all, I am going to search inside this UBot Studio file and see how many instances of this variable exist in this file, so that we can see a before and after case. If it really works successfully, if this assistant has renamed this variable across all instances of this variable. I hope I'm not being confusing. I want to make sure that the changes occur for every instance of this variable. So one quick way of finding out where this variable exists inside all the tabs is to come to this temp folder here and say find in files, and say find all. So I have the search result here. It's telling me that there are 4 instances of this variable in 3 tabs in 3 files, and it's listing it all out for me here. So when I click on this text box 2 here, it's telling me that it's on line 14. I have 1 instance. Then on 2.uscript, it's on line 5 right here, and and again in 2.uscript in line 25 we have another instance of this variable, and finally in 3.uscript we have the same variable in line 5. So we know where it exists, how many instances are there, and exactly where it exists. Alright, so I'm going to now come to my UAssistant and press this rename button. When I do that, it's going to run through every one of these tabs and rename textbox 2 to textbox TWO. So let's do that. It's telling me that I have renamed one item. So when I come back to Notepad++, it knows that things have changed. Alright, so this is my previous search result. Alright, so now I want to search for textbox 2. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come here and I'm going to say find in files, and I'm going to say I want to search for this variable now, and it's now telling me that it's found 4 hits in 3 files. Now this is my just now, so that you're not confused, when you make searches in Notepad++, what you find in the results is that there is a search history. This was my previous search history for textbox 2, and this is my current search for textbox_TWO. So it's again telling me there are 4 hits in 3 files. So it looks like it has done the renaming properly. So let's search. The first one is exactly in 1.uscript. Then again 2.uscript line number 5. Then again 2.uscript line number 25. It has renamed. And finally 3.uscript line number 5. Now if I come back to my previous search, you will see that it is exactly the same. If I click here in textbox 2, you will see that it takes me exactly to that position here. But just that it knows the line number and file, but the thing has changed. Alright, so again, so that shows that we have successfully changed the variable name, and you can do that for all of this, for every variable name. Then we have a refresh button here. When you press the refresh button, what it does, the assistant again runs through all the files here, and it refreshes it, so that now you see the variable, the first column here Now it's showing me text box underscore 2. It no longer shows 2. It's kind of refresh the list. So you can now again go ahead and make further changes. You can again change it. It's so that it allows you to, you can keep on making changes as long as you wish. Alright, so this is the rename assistant, and we have many more assistants to go through. So I'll see you in the next video. We'll be demoing the second assistant called extract all defines.